Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. Hello, everyone. I am Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. Welcome to another live stream night here on the Debt Demolisher TV, as we have the pleasure and the honor to continue to read through, to learn, to digest 10 pages at a time, none other than The Wealth Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbro. It has been an absolute honor to be able to come through each and every night during Financial Literacy Month to dissect these chapters or these pages within the book, and for us to have our daily conversations and dialogue around how to get ourselves all the way into our space of deciding and choosing wealth for ourselves, whatever that may look like to you. So what I want to do is go ahead and pop out the chat so that way I can see who is here, who is in the building. I can give my greetings and say hello to my people, and then we will go ahead and get right along started with our conversation on tonight. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you guys are doing wonderful. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We are also audio streaming on Clubhouse, as well as live on YouTube. So if you're in the Clubhouse room, feel free to click the link at the top of this room. It'll take you right on over to our live stream channel where we are streaming on the Debt Demolisher TV on YouTube. We have Melanie in the building saying that I'm here for another powerful night. Hey, Melanie, so good to see you. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here on this Friday night. Shout out to Here for a Reason. Let's go, Melanie, executive director and founder of none other than Here for a Reason. So glad that you're here for another powerful night. Super excited. We also got Acacia in the building saying greetings, DDTV family. Hey, Acacia. Go Acacia. Hey Acacia. Go Acacia. Let's go. Hey Acacia. Go Acacia. Let's go. Acacia's in the building. Sherry is also here saying, hey, everyone, your hair is cute. So thank you so much. I went and got my protective style. I have been wanting to get my hair crocheted for the longest time. And finally, I was able to get it done today. So shout out to MJB Holistic Hair Care, my natural hairstylist, who went ahead and hooked the sister up on today. While I was knocked out sleep in her chair. Yes, might I add, because I was tired. But thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you so much. Shout out to MJB. Acacia saying, yes, Sophia, gorgeous. Thank you so much, Acacia. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank y'all so much. Shout out to MJB, Holistic Hair Care. Q Scott is in the building saying, hey there, beautiful hair. Thank you so much, Q Scott. Welcome on into this room. I'm so glad that you are here on this Friday night. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Let's go. Hey, Q Scott. Hey, Q Scott. Let's go. So glad that you are here. Tracy Ann is also in the building all the way from the West Side. Tracy Ann, stand up. Tracy Ann is saying hello to everybody. I'm so glad that you're here, Tracy Ann. Welcome on into this room. Super excited that you are here. Melanie is saying super cute hair. Thank y'all so much for the compliments. Thank you so much, Tracy Ann. Also, I appreciate it. The hairstyle looks good on you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love twists. It's been a long time since I've been able to get like twists like this. So thank you. Thank you. And sidebar, I will be using the rosemary stimulator spray now that my hair is no longer silk pressed. So I'm going to get to try that stimulator and see how it works for my head. So shout out to Lisa Smile. She's not on here yet, but that good old rosemary stimulator I will be using, and I'll get to let y'all know how it works for me. All right, you all. Thank y'all so much for being here today. Thank y'all so much for being here today. I want to talk about two things. So as you can see, based on the title of today's live stream, it may be a little bit like, we're supposed to be talking about wealth creation. Why are we talking about poor habits? We're supposed to be talking about wealth creation or choosing wealth. Why are we talking about poor habits? The reason why I wanted us to talk about poor habits today was because I think it's very important for us to identify and be very cognizant of the things that may be causing us not to really choose the wealth that we literally have at our fingertips. Sometimes we don't realize that it's the things that we do day in and day out. It's the habits that we've picked up, maybe even from other people that we've decided to incorporate into our lives, that causes us not to be able to get to that level of success or that level of wealth that we know that we deserve, that we know that we are more than capable of being able to get, because it's at our fingertips and we serve an abundant God. Amen. But our habits can sometimes keep us from the very thing that we want the most. So as I was reading our sections for today, I was writing in the margins. Y'all know I write in the margins. I make notes in the margins. I come up with ideas in the margins. I talk about myself in the margins. I praise God in the margins of these books. And I used one of the blank pages inside of the chapter just to literally make a list of all of my poor habits after reading a specific section in the book, which we're going to go over. But I want to challenge you guys to kind of think about doing the same thing when it comes to our conversation tonight, when it comes to you reflecting on what we've read thus far, and even thinking about, are there some habits that I have been doing that's not necessarily serving me? And I know that I've identified a couple. And even today, I felt really convicted about something. And I was like, man, I know I should have did this a long time ago. And I kept asking myself the question, why was I really putting it off? Like, what is really the holdup for me putting this thing off? Like, what's the real reason? So I started to drill down, think deeper into things, really just ask myself several questions about why I operate in certain capacities related to certain things, as opposed to how I act related to other things. And I felt really convicted. And I don't know what the Lord is trying to show me or teach me, but I just felt so sad after realizing, like, man, I've really kind of like dropped the ball on this. And I identified that today as a poor habit. So let's go ahead and get our conversation started. We had to read through pages 71. I'm gonna try to bring my mic a little bit closer. Maybe I shouldn't bring it too close, because y'all know I be loud and I don't want to be yelling in y'all ears. But we had to read from page 71 to 80. So just starting with 71, yesterday we closed out with standards. We talked about identifying your standards, and do you even know what your standards are? So that was one of the things that I wrote down, but included it as a part of our conversation for yesterday when I asked you guys, what are your standards? So as we continue on the conversation, we were reading about Ken Brown, his story, how his mom was really adamant about ensuring that her child was not going to have a poverty or welfare mindset. Her child was not going to be subject to thinking that the lack that they were in was all that was going to be abound. She was really adamant about instilling positive things into his mind, despite their current environment and despite their current situation. So as we continue to read on to that, even though his story is kind of closing out. But one thing that Dr. Dennis Kimbrough writes about Ken Brown's mom is that his mom understood and internalized a key element of wealth that even today many fail to grasp. And that is that she knew that wealth is the vast, untapped potential of creative thinking. Wealth is the vast, untapped potential of creative thinking. Creative thinking. He also says that Brown's mother was conscious of the power that turned stumbling blocks into stepping stones. She knew of the source that has been known to propel humanity from the slums of the ghetto of the world to the grandest level of grace and distinction. She knew that each of us is the architect of our own fortune. So you are the captain of your ship. You are the author of your ship. You get to design your life, all based on how you think about your life and the possibilities of your life. He then goes into the conversation talking about how wealth begins in the mind and that there is no need for anyone to be poor on the planet. But we do know that in order for there to be some sort of a balance, everybody and their mama, I couldn't even imagine everybody in the world being wealthy. What would that look like? Because even when you look at it from a perspective, if you're gaining, then someone else is losing. If you're gaining, someone else is losing. If you're gaining, that's coming out of someone else's pocket. Even though money is designed to be cyclical, but could it be? Could it be? Do you foresee like the entire world being profitable or being wealthy? Can you imagine what a world like that would look like? It would be ideal. I mean, I would love to see that because I don't want to see poverty. I don't want to see hardship. I don't want to see the dysfunction. I was driving today when I was leaving the hair salon, and I was just being very observant. I found myself being very observant, even observant of just the things that I saw. People in poverty, people on substance abuse, people being arrested by the cops, people just looking out of it. And I just found myself looking as I was driving through these various neighborhoods. And I found myself asking the question, why is this that way? Is it by their choice? Or is it by circumstance? Or is it as a result of them trying to survive? So they prey on those who are what's the word I'm looking for? Who are subject to substance abuse. Again, someone else's gain is somebody else's pain. Somebody else's gain is somebody else's pain. So I witnessed a transaction today. It's the craziest things, you see. I'm like, oh my gosh, that literally just happened. That literally just happened. And whatever that person got in exchange for what that person gave them, yeah, it may feed that person's pocket. It may feed that person's family, but to what cost? To what cost of the other person who bought whatever that thing was from them? Their life, their soul, their sanity. And even in some cases, what are they willing to do to get the next dollar to be able to get whatever that is again? More crime. So I found myself observing a lot of things today. And sometimes I wonder what the world would look like if poverty didn't exist, if the ghettos didn't exist, if the lack didn't exist, if the substance didn't exist. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough then goes on to continue to talk about some of the principles that Ken Brown's mom had really instilled in her son. And those things were to be optimistic, seizing the moment, being optimistic. So it's optimism over pessimism. I said this I think I commented on something inside of the annual clarity retreat, because we have our own platform that we kind of communicate and stuff related to the annual clarity retreat with Carrie Roque Moore. And she did this post about, I think the post was about optimism. And after reading the post and after just thinking about my own reflections, I just said optimism over pessimism in the comments, period. I said optimism over pessimism, period. And so what that means is we really have to be mindful of what we are telling ourselves despite the situation that we may be going through. So even when I was sharing with you guys how I felt a little bit emotional today, when I was thinking about something that I knew I dropped the ball on, as I continued to think about the readings, I said to myself, okay, am I going to continue to be upset or sad at myself for not doing what I know should have been done a long time ago, but I was avoiding it or putting it off for whatever reason, as opposed to choosing to accept what it was for what it is and now decide to do something different, now decide to do something about it. What is that going to look like? Optimism over the pessimism. Optimism, thinking about the could, the what, the should, the possibility, the when, instead of the doom and gloom, like, oh man, I'm mad at myself, or oh man, I shouldn't have did this, oh man, all of this stuff is gonna happen now. Optimism over pessimism. He also says being grateful for the hardship that you go through, because it literally designed your character today. So be grateful for the character that you have now that was built and birthed as a result of the hardship that you went through. So that even reminds me of the story that I was telling you guys over the last couple of days around all of the things that I had gone through somewhat, all of the things that I had pushed through, all of the things that I was able to overcome, and how I said that all of those experiences in my past made me who I am today. Even though there's still room for improvement, because I am far from perfect. There's so much room for improvement. But I realized that if it weren't for those situations, if it weren't for those instances, I would not have the level of strength that I have now. I would not have been able to overcome the things that I have overcome so far in my life. And I wouldn't have the strength to even talk about it today. So being grateful for your hardship, because it crafted your character. Further down, he says that what he picked up from his mom was that they may have worked hard, but mentally they have lost hope. And let me go back and read the whole thing so that it makes better sense. It says, you must decide that you will not be poor. There is no philosophy that will help a man to succeed when he always doubts his ability to do so. There is no philosophy that will help a man succeed when he always doubts his ability to do so. So we have to be careful about what we are telling ourselves about our ability to even be successful in a thing, or being able to master a specific thing, being able to grow authentically in a thing, being able to influence a certain situation or aspect. There are multitudes of poor people in this country who have grown satisfied and comfortable to remain impoverished. And that's what I was talking about as I was driving through neighborhoods, because I was doing a lot of running around today, But as I was driving through neighborhoods and I was just being very observant, and I was seeing things, and I was seeing the substance abuse, I was seeing all of these things, and I was like, wow, are they just complacent with this type of living? Is this what they choose? Like, is this by choice, or is this by circumstance, or is this by environment happenstance? So what he's saying is, if you're poor, then you choose to be. If you're poor, then you have grown satisfied and comfortable to remain in that impoverished state. And who have ceased to mount any assault to rise above their conditions. Again, that's choice. You have to choose to rise above your conditions. You have to choose to rise above your poor habits. You have to choose to rise above whatever happened in your past 5, 10, 15 years ago that you're still holding on to and that you're still living out today. He says they may work hard, but mentally they have lost hope, the edge, the expectation that will remove the bars and stand between them and their financial blessing. Hope is a powerful thing. And I remember when I was going through my situation with my mom last year, I told y'all 2021 was a tough year. And I was so, I'm just going to call it what it was. I was so depressed. I just didn't even want to do life anymore. I told the Lord I was tired. I told the Lord it was either going to be me or it was going to be her. I said, because I can't do this anymore. I told the Lord that I was tired. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wasn't answering my phone. I wasn't picking up, not talking to anybody. And I remember when I talked to my dad and my bonus mom, because, they were getting worried because they weren't able to talk to me that much. And then when I talked to my dad and I was just telling him, because they were like, you don't sound like yourself. You sound, you don't sound like you. And they just knew something was wrong. All of them were saying that. And then my dad told me, he said, no matter what, he said, don't ever lose hope. He said, because the minute you lose hope, that is when God is going to take you up. And those words have stuck with me and reminded me of the power of hope. Because hope can not only save your life, but hope can help pull you out of your darkest moments. Hope will lead you to grace. Hope will increase your faith. Hope will give you the ultimate release that you need for that very moment in your life. So seeing this here, mentally they have lost hope. I know the feeling. Mentally they have lost hope. And that hope is the edge and the expectation that will literally remove the bars that's keeping them from not just their financial blessing, but essentially, more than likely, their life. Their life. Keeping them from living their life. Last bullet on page 71. Abundance is your destiny. Come on, abundance now. Abundance now. Abundance is your destiny. Rid yourself of poverty mentality. Money goes where it is welcomed. Decide that you will be a good steward of the money you possess, and as a result, more money will be added unto you. Be faithful over the little so that you could become ruler over much. Be faithful over the little so that you can become ruler over the much. Be a good steward over your money now. Be a good steward over what you have now. Because money goes where it is welcomed. Money goes where it is welcomed. Page 73, I was reading through the story where he was talking a little bit about Brown and the recruiter that reached out to him and basically gave him the opportunity of a lifetime. But the powerful piece that I underlined on page 73 of the book was that a recruiter from Southern Illinois University saw something in Ken Brown. This recruiter saw something in Ken Brown and gave him an opportunity to literally be able to come to school, if I'm not mistaken. He received a special admission into a program that was contingent upon him earning a B average, 3.0 GPA. He arrived on campus with only $25 in a wicker chair. Brown couldn't care less. He says that eager to leave his past behind, he gazed at the broad Gothic buildings at a daze. Under normal circumstances, he stared, I wasn't supposed to be there. I was a child of teenage, out of wedlock parents. I was a welfare recipient and inner city nomad, but thanks to my mother's counsel, I was determined to prove my worth. By the time May rolled around, I finished my first year with a 3.15 grade point average, and Southern Illinois University accepted him into general admissions. So what I took from this piece, and it challenged me to even think of, and this is going to remind me, Sherry, this is going to remind me of Sherry, if you're watching, this is going to remind me of our conversation, something you emailed me about. But when I read this piece, I literally wrote in the margins, find somebody to see something in. Find somebody to see something in. Because sometimes people just need that ounce of mentorship. They need that ounce of chance. They need that ounce of, I want to do this for you. I want to support you in this. I see something in you that you may not even see in yourself. So I want to do this for you. I want to help you. I want to do what? I want to pay it forward. I want to pay it forward. Sherry, you know what I'm talking about, Sherry. Pay it forward. So that challenged me to think about, have I even done that? Have I set the intention aside to say, wait, I see something in this person. Let me be a vessel. Let me be a tool. Let me be a resource. Because I know people have done it for me. I know people have done it for me, especially on my job. I know I've been favored on jobs. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Favored. From cradle to grave. Favored. So how can I pass that baton? Because obviously the baton has been passed to me. So who am I going to pass it to? Who am I going to see something in? Who am I going to help nurture? Who am I going to help mentor? Who am I going to help position? Who am I going to help by sharing my insight to say, hey, this was what I did, or this is how this worked for me. And if I were in your position, this is what I would do. Or let me show you behind the scenes of how it works on this end so that you can better position yourself to possibly get in on this end. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. And this just gave me an opportunity to have a different lens about my job. To have a different lens about my job. I'm not just there to earn a paycheck. I'm not just there to fill a position description. My soul is there for a purpose, and my story speaks for itself. My story speaks for itself. So if I've been able to accelerate in my career in the manner that I have, how selfish of me would it be not to want to pay it forward, not to want to do the same thing, not to want to see how I can help somebody else the same way somebody helped me. Whew. On page 75, he talks about roadblocks and when roadblocks occur and how you still have to press forward regardless of the roadblocks. So regardless of the roadblocks, you can't focus on what you're going through. You got to focus on what you are going to do. And that was my conviction after I said that I felt sad today because I knew I dropped the ball on something. I said, I can't focus on what I'm going through. I got to focus on what I'm going to do. What am I going to do now? What am I going to do next? So regardless of whatever your roadblock is, don't focus on the roadblock. Don't focus on what happened. Don't focus on what are you going to do about it. Don't speak about it, be about it. See and puff on your tunes, feeling weak about it. I think that's how I go. Y'all know the rap. Brown says that he hopes to spread his formula, and this is Ken Brown, the story that we're reading, one of the millionaires. Brown hopes to spread his formula for wealth creation to all of those who will listen. So I believe if we're all here, then all of us will listen. I see y'all are in the chat. I'm going to read this in a second. But if you are here, then I know that you're listening. And Brown wants us to know that the starting point to all growth and development rests in our decision. And this is the second law of wealth, decision. So it rests in our decision. The decision that you make can alter the course of your life forever. So what are you going to choose? Here's another thing that really kind of stuck out to me. And I feel like I wrote this in the margins a couple of other times too, when it comes to making a decision promptly. And this can be challenging for me because I have an A-type personality. I know Q Scott has an A-type personality too, so I know she's going to get what I'm saying. But I have to think through things. Like some things is second nature, but some things, like when it really comes to a decision, I really got to think about it. I really got to weigh the pros and cons. I really got to think about how this move is going to impact X, Y, and Z. And based on what they're saying in this book, if you take too long to make a decision, you're going to miss out on the opportunity. But that's just the way my brain works. That's just the way my brain works. When it's really something that would be impactful to me, something that would have an impact that's directly on me, I think about it. So the question that I began to ask myself was, well, how do you even get to the point where you can make a quick enough decision and it not be a rash decision? How do you balance between the two? How do you dance between the two and not feel like you're missing out on opportunities because you didn't respond quick enough, or you didn't accept or make a decision quick enough? And that's probably part of the reason why on some things I put it off. It could be why I put some things off. And I'm like, okay, I'll worry about it later. Okay, I'll get to it. And then to the point where when you need to get to it, the damage has worsened. And at this point, it's going to cost you more. So the quote that went out this afternoon was the reason so few of us are financially independent is due in part to the negative mental roadblocks that have been placed in our minds. So what are the negative things that we either have been told or that has been instilled in our minds or that we have witnessed or that we run and that we play back in our heads over and over? That negative thinking is what we have to choose to course correct, because that negative thinking is not going to put us in a space of optimism. It's going to keep us in a space of pessimism. So you have to be very careful about what you're feeding your mind and what you're telling yourself, and being mindful of the thoughts that you may be saying unconsciously. He says that if you wish to become wealthy in a generation, you will be forced to nurture the courage to make a decision that sooner or later all millionaires have reached. So decide that you will not be poor. Decide that you will not be poor. Even when you think about that question, deciding that you're not going to be poor, you're not going to be poor, I think you have to identify what your definition of poor is. Because some people could equate being poor to not having enough money. Some people could equate poor to the living conditions that they're staying in or that they grew up in. Some people could equate poor to not having a certain dollar amount in their bank account. They could be working, but they could still feel like they're poor. So it depends on what you see and what you define as poor. Because again, my definition of poor is not going to be the same definition of poor to you. The same way my definition of wealth may not be the same definition of wealth to you. Why? Because personal finances are personal, and we all have different situations. The only thing that's changing dictating what poor versus wealthy is the decisions that we make. It's the decisions that we make. So what are you choosing to do that's getting you in a position that you're in? What are you choosing to do? So the second law of wealth is decide now that you will not be poor. I decide that I'm not going to be poor. That's why I went to identifying my poor habits, because it's not just about the money. For me, it's a behavioral thing. It's an intellectual thing. It's a mind thing. So poor isn't always monetary. I don't want to have poor behaviors, period. Because what does he say? If you want to be a millionaire, you got to think like one. If you want to be wealthy, you got to think like a wealthy person. You got to act, you got to become. And it all starts in your behavior. In my opinion. He says, when you make up your mind that you are done with poverty forever, that you will not entertain a single unproductive thought. I had to circle that and star it. You will not entertain a single unproductive thought. That you are going to erase every trace of this debilitating disease from your dress, your appearance, your demeanor, come on, your decorum, your speech, your actions, your home, that you are going to show the world your true mettle. That you will no longer conduct your affairs in an apologetic, stooping, slipshod manner, as if you lacked confidence or ability. I don't know who picked up those gems, but I'm telling you, I just picked it up again. Behavior, how you see yourself, how you show up, how you carry yourself. That you will adhere to the words of the master who admonished us to turn the other cheek and squarely and persistently face a life of plenty, power, prayer, and untold riches. Here lies the very heart of a wealthy consciousness, the conversion process. I'm reading from page 76. This outlook converts spenders into savers, the non-banked or unbanked into banking customers, the renters into homeowners, the entrepreneurial hopefuls into business owners, the economically uneducated into financially literate. This outlook helps people help themselves and create wealth in the process. But before you can become a millionaire, you must learn to think like one. And you must decide. You must decide. This part touched me a lot, and I said, ouch, in the comments. I said in the comments, I mean in the margins. I wrote ouch in the margins. The individual who is trapped by indecision, ever juggling two opinions, forever debating which course to pursue, cannot control him or herself, let alone his or her financial future. In contrast, the man or woman of prompt and calculated decision does not wait for favorable circumstances. To hesitate is to be lost. Ouch. To hesitate is to be lost. In fact, those who are forever shuffling and procrastinating, weighing and balancing will never rise above minimum wage. I said, ouch. Ouch. And this is why I used the opening section, the space that was available on the next page, to really identify my poor habits. As I've said before, I'm not a perfect person. I'm still a work in progress. I'm still growing. Every time I grow, I got a new level I got to master or get over, a new hurdle I got to get through. And it requires a different level of diligence for whatever that level is. So I had to be honest with myself, and the same thing I want you guys to be honest with yourself by naming your poor habits. What are your poor habits? If I can be transparent, I'm willing to share with you all because of the space and the relationship that we've built, even though we're virtual. I trust that me sharing what my poor habits are will not only serve as maybe a point of connection or a point of being able to relate, or maybe even encourage you to challenge yourself a little bit deeper to being really true about what your poor habits are. So I started making my list of poor habits. One is being indecisive about major costing projects. putting stuff off, trying to wait it out. Oh, I'll get to it later. Being indecisive about what to do as it relates to those areas. And so as a result, I did nothing. Now it's probably going to cost me more money, but that's a whole nother story. Next one, changing my mind all the time. I'm being honest. I have a tendency to say yes in a moment, but give me a couple of days, give me a week, give me 2 weeks. I just might change my mind. I just may say, scrap that, never mind. And I think it's a fine line between this one, because I think we should have the ability to be able to change our mind. But if you're constantly reneging or constantly changing stuff, that's a quality that you need to check within yourself, because why did you even say yes in the first place? So what is your process for saying yes? Get clear on that. And then you won't be in this situation where you're constantly changing your mind. Learn to say no. Have a process in place to identify when you're going to say yes and when you're going to say no. And not just to other people, even sometimes to myself. Another poor habit of mine is oversleeping. Oversleeping. Is another poor habit of mine. Not getting enough rest. I went to my doctor the other day, and my doctor asked me, was I getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, or 6 to 8 hours of sleep, I think she said. I said, absolutely not. I said, absolutely not. I'm not getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I said, maybe 5 to 6 on a good day. She looked at me. I need you to get some more rest. Then I was talking to my executive coach. We had our coaching meeting the other day. I feel like it was yesterday. Look, my days already. And we talked about this very same thing, rest. And he even said to me, he said, even Jesus rested. I had to drop the pen because he had to remind me. He had to remind me that even God rested on the seventh day. I said, ouch. Next one, another poor habit that I believe is me not fully planning my nights or planning my days the night before. So if I know I have a certain number of things that needs to be done, or a certain number of things that I do in the morning, why not prepare in advance for it? Why not set an hour or two before my bedtime to prep for tomorrow, to knock those things out or set me up for a better morning? Another poor habit, no boundaries. No boundaries. Horrible with boundaries. Again, I had my executive meeting with my coach, and he asked me, did you read the information that I sent you from the last meeting? I forgot all about it. And I said, oh, so I'm in the meeting, I'm going on my computer, I'm trying to find his email. And I said, yes. I said, but I didn't look at it. He said, it's okay. He said, it's okay. But the conversation came up. And the very article that he sent me was related to boundaries. And he said, I want to encourage you to read that. He said, I want to encourage you to read that. I said, okay. I'm going to read it. I done told y'all, so I'm gonna read it. I gotta hold myself accountable. But it's tied to boundaries, and especially boundaries in the workplace. So I'm gonna read that. And then the next thing that I wrote down in terms of my poor habits is poor estimation of time. So let me explain this for a little bit. For me, I guess you can say that I'm somewhat of an overachiever, meaning I believe that I can get all of this stuff done, not thinking it's going to take me a whole lot of time to get done. And so I end up underestimating the amount of time it's going to take me to do a project or to finish a task. And it doesn't pan out that way. So I tell myself, oh, I can get this done in 15 minutes. That turns into 45 minutes. I tell myself, oh, I can get this done in an hour. It turned into 3 hours. So for me, I need to get better at estimating the time that's going to be necessary for projects or things that I do. And I think that's one of the reasons why I said I wanted to focus on efficiency, because I'm very A-type, I'm analytical. So I could be doing one thing, then my brain will go on to something else, and then I'll just start searching and researching this, or I'll start thinking of this and I'll start thinking of that. So literally, I'm not even doing really the thing that I said I was going to do, because I done branched off into 3 different things in that one window. And before you know it, all of this time has gone by and I haven't really gotten what I needed to get done until the 3rd hour. So technically, it really didn't take me 30 minutes or it didn't take me 3 hours to do it. But because of the way that my brain functions, and when I get creative, I guess, I'll just start looking up stuff because I get curious. I'll just start researching stuff. I'll just start doing this. I'll just start doing that. So poor estimation of time is also equal to better management of my time. So what am I setting myself to do in the moment? And am I really honoring doing it in that moment? Or is my brain like doing other stuff? So, and then another one is rest, which I already talked about because I kind of tied it into oversleeping. But when I say rest, meaning giving myself breaks, like giving myself breaks during the day, not just sleeping, but giving myself rest periods in the day. Because when you are analytical and you're a thinker, your brain is always going, well, all of our brains are always going. But I think for me, I'm constantly going from one thing to the next, constantly, like boom, 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 and it's back to back. And I need to be able to incorporate a period of rest and honor whatever that window is and honor whatever that time is, so that I can give my brain some time to just slow down a little bit before I start thinking even more, or before I start jumping into this and before I start jumping into that. So, yes. So those are my poor habits that I've named and that I'm sharing openly with the DDTV fam as the habits that I want to transform and that I want to actively work on turning into a wealthy habit instead of a poor habit. So now my next step is going to be to create the inverse of this poor habit. So for me to create the inverse of this poor habit, I need to identify what the healthy habit will look like as opposed to this poor one. So it's the same concept, like Lisa Nichols says, play on the powerful, Pause on the negative and play on the powerful. Pause on the negative and play on the powerful. The same thing. You got to find something to replace whatever that negative thing is. So in my case, I need to find something to replace this poor habit. And in order for me to find something to replace this poor habit, I have to identify what the wealthy habit is going to be. I have to identify what the positive habit is going to be. What is that going to look like? So that's my task, because I didn't get that far. But I feel like I kind of identified it by talking about it to you all. So thank you for allowing me the space to do that. And then it's going to be the matter of taking action. And here's the thing that I'm going to share. I'm telling me, but I'm telling y'all too. When we have a list of stuff like this, we can't expect to just jump right into it immediately. We have to be able to give ourselves the window, the space to just take little stabs at it, little by little, until it becomes an ingrained habit. And this is something that I picked up from Bob Proctor. He always talks about repetition and study. So it's a matter of practicing the repetition of a thing that will allow you to really be masterful in it. So if I want to be masterful in my new wealthy habits, I just have to take needlepoint moves, one at a time, cycle at a time, repetition and study over and over and over and over and over again, until that becomes my second nature. Until that now becomes my second nature, as opposed to the previous habit. So I'm going to tell myself to start small. Yes, I just listed 7 things. And these 7 things are not going to be easy things to just incorporate by the flip of a switch. But the key, number 1, is what I'm deciding. So now that you've decided, you got to show evidence of that decision by taking a small action. You got to show action of that decision by doing. Don't just speak about it, be about it. Don't just speak about it. We got to be about it. So when we speak about it, we're saying, I'm deciding. But when you be about it, you take action on that decision. All right. Whew. All right, let's see. Oh, I forgot, y'all. I got a mouse nail for my laptop, so I'm so excited about this mouse. This was a neighborhood I live in. I tell y'all, they just making all these noise with these loud cars. So I made a purchase today. Not today. It came today. I made a purchase and I bought a new mouse for my laptop, because y'all know I had to get a new laptop because my computer's been malfunctioning, and the computer came back up, but it was still acting crazy. So I said, let me just let it simmer and let me just use my laptop. But I don't like using the pad thing. So I said I need a mouse. So I bought a magic mouse to go with my laptop. So it's so much easier. It's so much easier to navigate. And so I'm excited. I got everything propped up and set up, and so we're good. All right, I'm gonna read some of these comments and then we're gonna close out. So you know we are now on chapter 2. We're on chapter 2. There wasn't really much that I wanted to point out from chapter 2, so I think we can kind of add on to that conversation tomorrow. But if you have the audio book, then we're on chapter 2, the haves and the have-nots, the difference, but that's the difference. The difference that makes the difference is where we're going to be reading from 81 all the way through page 90. Page 90 is what we're going to be reading through tomorrow for our reading, and then we'll come back. All right, so let's see what we have in the comments, and then we're going to close on out. Hold on, y'all. What is going on? Coach Root, I'm praying for peace of God to guard your heart and the mind in Jesus Christ. Yes. Coach Root, I hope everything is okay. Let me see, because I think I missed a lot. I wasn't reading the comments, so I missed a lot. Let me see. Well, Coach Root, I'm keeping you uplifted in prayer as well. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Divinity says, I am a millionaire. Hey, Divinity. It feels supreme to help others along the way. Let's go. I love that. Sometimes I hate Queen Heart. Sometimes I have to rebuke my thoughts aloud. Control the mind. Don't let the mind control you. Amen. Queen Heart. Coach Root says, that's right. I'm a millionaire. Let's go. Paige is in the building. Hey, Paige. So good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome on into this room. I'm working on expanding my mind right now. I have to exercise it every day to stay on a positive track in order to attract positivity. That's right. Q Scott says, yeah, been there, but we can't beat ourselves up because whatever it is for us, God will deliver it elsewhere. This is what I lean on, in addition to knowing things happen for a reason. Amen, Q Scott. Powerful word, powerful word. All right. Acacia says, my poor habit is carrying my family financially. Acacia, don't make me throw this whole book at the screen. My poor habit is carrying my family financially. Ooh, I can relate. I can relate to a certain extent. I can relate. God bless you, Acacia, for that. And you know, it's interesting too, because a lot of times when people hear a story like that, you know, it's a lot on the carrier. I know it's a lot on you, Acacia, to be carrying the financial load in that manner, but know that you are blessed. You are blessed. You are blessed because you are a blessing. You are blessed because you are a blessing. But that doesn't mean that the family got to try to take advantage and all of that. So I know what you mean. Coach Root says, that's right, Divinity. We are all millionaires in here. That's right, we are. Lisa Smiles is in the building. Hey, Lisa Smiles, so good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome on into this room. I talked about you earlier today. I talked about you earlier in the live. I'm going to be trying my the rosemary spray now that I got my hair braided. Yes. Okay, Rayshawn. Hello, Rayshawn. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome on into this room. So glad that you're here. Melanie says, I literally just did a LinkedIn post about this. Wow. Tonight's topic is alignment for me. This is so good. Come on. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord. Look, Acacia said nobody but God. That's absolutely right. Nobody but God. Okay. Nobody but him. All right. Coach Root says I had to recheck myself to rest and self-soothe. Amen. Yes. Yes. Acacia says, read it to us if it helps you be accountable. Thank you, Acacia. You have already spilled the beans. Y'all hold me accountable. Q Scott says, definitely try that. So weekly schedule planning helps, but prepping nightly before bed really helps. Level of stress, not feeling overwhelmed as much or panicking when you have overslept. When I tell y'all I be oversleeping, I be oversleep. I don't even panic no more. I just be like, I just get on when I get on. I don't even panic no more. But this was what I wanted to read too, because this just reminded me. It was on end of the page 80. So I'll read this to you now because I underlined this and I said this is exactly how I want to feel. On the bottom of page 80, and I'm going to go over this again tomorrow since we didn't really go through chapter 2, but this is chapter 2. They said that when it comes to the wealthy, when it comes to millionaires, when it comes to the successful, they wake up happy and they go to sleep fulfilled. They wake up happy and they go to sleep fulfilled. My main thing is I want to be able to wake up happy. I want to be able to wake up happy. Because right now, I'll be waking up like, oh God, I gotta get up. I gotta do this. I gotta log on. I gotta deal with all of this. Like, I'm just being honest. And I don't want to feel that way in my mornings. I want to wake up energized. I want to wake up trained and ready to go. I want to wake up fulfilled, and I want to go to bed feeling fulfilled. So that convicted me a lot. Today is my mom's 7th annual pass. Oh, wow, Coach Root. I continue to press forward and definitely wanted to be on this live with you all. Coach Root, we are lifting you up. We are lifting you up. We are lifting you up. I think Divinity just had one too with her mom, her queen. Wow. Today. Wow. Coach Root, I'm keeping you uplifted. I'm hoping that you are feeling, her positive energy, just basking in the positive memories. I know it can be hard, but just keep pressing through. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. Whew. Queen Heart says, I can't even read a book at leisure without it turning into a research project. Right. Acacia says, sending an electronic hug to you, Coach Root. Yes, as you remember the life and legacy of your mother. Yes, thank you for trusting us to share that information. Amen. Acacia, come on with the word. We are so much alike. The difference I see, though, is you work well under the gun. Not me. I stress out. And so I've been planned and organized because when there's hiccups or times I need to pivot. I get it, Q Scott. And you know what's funny? It doesn't feel like I do well under pressure or under the gun. But what's interesting is when I'm faced with that, I get it done. And it may not seem visible, but I do feel the pressure. But I feel the release once it's done. So I remember this was when I was supervising. I was in this leadership program, and they had 360 evaluations. So essentially, evaluation had to go to my staff. I don't even like to use the word my staff because I'm not paying them. I'm not paying them. So the team that I worked with, the 360 evaluation went to them. And I didn't see, I didn't know who responded. I mean, I knew who responded, but I didn't know what they responded individually. But one of the comments that they said, because they were able to do free responses too, but one of the comments that one of them said was that that I seem like I keep everything together. Like I don't show any signs of stress or frustration or any of that. So they rated me all the way up here in that answer. And I rated myself all the way down here. And so when I saw what they rated me as in this specific assessment question compared to what I rated myself as, and I think it was a stress question. When I saw the difference between the two, I said, wow, I hide it really well. That's exactly what I said. I said that I hide my stress really well because no one on my team could pick up when I was stressed at work. None of them picked it up. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. Pressure, stress, just trying to get done, trying to get answers, trying to be responsive. And it pushes me to just, even though I just be upset sometimes. I ain't gonna say I'd be upset, but I just be frustrated sometimes. All right. What's the subtitle? Lisa smiles. The subtitle. Oh, I'm not sure which part, but the subtitle. Well, now we're on chapter 2, Lisa smiles. The haves and the have-nots. The difference that makes the difference. The difference that makes the difference. Oh, subtitle of page 91. Oh, subtitle of page 91 is the mathematical formula that guides all wealth. That's page 90. The mathematical formula that guides all wealth. Thank you for reminding me of that, Lisa Smiles. For those of you who had the audio version. Okay. All right. Praying for your strength and comfort as well, Divinity. Divinity's in the room. Yep. Glad to be here. All right, you all. Wake up. Melanie says, LOL, same. Queen Heart says, I'm the same way. God ain't through with me. If I wake up, I just be like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go from here? How should I reorganize? Amen. Paige says, I'm praying for you, Coach Ruth. Let's go. Coach Ruth says, it's hard. I have the mindset to keep going regardless. Each morning I get up with gratitude and send out a motivational quote daily on my IG. Amen. Shout out to Coach Ruth. Coach Ruth, what's your drop your IG so that folks can be able to follow you and see your inspiration too. Divinity, Acacia, Queen Heart, thank you for your kind words. Yep, I knew Divinity, her mom's was recent too, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Yep, and Tracy Ann is asking the same thing. Coach Ruth, what's your IG tag? So drop your IG tags in here, you guys. All right. I want to thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and start working on my poor habits tonight. Let me see what I can plan for tonight as much as I can. So tomorrow, you know that we're doing our Budget With Me live stream at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to join us into our working session where we're going to be going over our budgets, getting our numbers together, you can use the time and the space for whatever you want to use the time and space for. But this is my budget meeting, and I'm inviting you guys into my budget meetings. I have it at 8 o'clock in the mornings on Saturday. So we're doing Budget With Me tomorrow morning at 8 Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll be back here tomorrow evening for the continuation of our next readings. We're going to be reading pages 81 through 90, and we will be back. Okay, so Coach Root put her IG tag in there. So awesome. Lisa Smiles says, come on and kiki with me. So I guess you're going live, Lisa Smiles. I take it. That means you're going live, Lisa Smiles. Let's go. All right, y'all. So I want to remind you that your financial prosperity awaits you, and so does your financial sanity. Y'all already know what I'm going to tell you to do, and that is what? Get to work. All right. Thank y'all so much for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Night, night. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melonē. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melonē. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia